Elmo traumatized me as a child. Today we're going to be talking about that. Hey, it's Ava, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and to the Cozy Corner where we love to hang out. I'm excited to talk about today's movie, and this movie did indeed scare me as a child. Looking back, most movies did scare me as a child, so Spy Kids also traumatized me a lot more than this movie. So, you know, I could do a video on Spy Kids, but I don't know if I want to relive that trauma. So this movie is entitled Elmo's Adventures in Grouchland, but Grouchland is essentially hell on earth. So we're gonna explore that today. You know what? Let's just get straight into it. So the movie starts out by showing us our two lovable favorite characters, Bert and Ernie.
Ernie, listen, I'm going to take a shower. Have you seen my antibacterial soap?
Bert and Ernie, man, you know, and they were roommates. That's all I'm gonna say. When Bert walked in wearing a shower cap and Ernie was just chill with it, I was like, okay, that's the way it's gonna be then.
Hey, Bert, don't you think you ought to put some clothes on now?
Huxley just hasn't learned how to share yet.
Tell me they weren't gay, I'm sorry. Literally just so ahead of its time. When did The Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland came out? 1999. Kudos to them, my favorite couple. I was actually very curious to see if Bert and Ernie like had any fanfiction. And so I went on to a writing website. They in fact do. The top one is called Things That Start with B. Ernie is naming things that start with the letter B. Bert thinks doing this in the middle of their wedding is a bad idea.
Enjoy the movie, everybody!
Elmo has his best friend in the whole world, his BF, Blanket.
Oh, Blanket! I'm so glad he found you. Elmo doesn't know what he'd do without his best friend.
Blanket is supposedly alive according to this first part of the movie. Elmo's singing about how in love with his blanket he is. During their song, when Elmo and the blanket are dancing around, he does say Elmo would never leave you behind, which is definitely some presumptuous, devious foreshadowing for the future of this film. Indeed, things do not go well for the blanket. That's all I have to say. The blanket underwent serious injury throughout this film. It gets ripped, it gets torn, spilled on, gets thrown into the garbage can.
Hey, you nice people! Have you seen Elmo's blanket? Yeah! Where? Oh, over there? Blanket! Is it over here? Yeah!
The kids they're so tired. Like, Elmo, get your life together. You know, I can't tell how old Elmo is supposed to be in this movie. At times I'm like, this is a 3-year-old, and at other times I'm like, why is this 3-year-old unattended at the laundromat by himself? Elmo, the fact that he doesn't have parents is very concerning. Elmo meets his friend Zoe. She is just kind of upset, and she sees Elmo's blanket and is like, okay, that's a great crutch for you, you know, could be a crutch for me. She tries to take the blanket. Elmo's like, no, Bessie, that's my literal best friend.
What a great blanket!
Zoe just really wants the blanket for whatever reason. Whoever the hell wants this ratty, patched up thing that Elmo's probably dragged through the dirt. Why do people want this stupid blanket so bad? And it comes to the point where Elmo just gets so pissed off. He's like, Zoe, you're not my friend anymore.
What?
Then something ends up happening with the blanket, some wacky hijinks. Grover, which I forgot Grover existed. Apparently he's Super Grover, does his magical transformation just out of nowhere into a superhero to try to save the blanket. This movie, just everything about it is such a fever dream. Things are happening and I'm forced to go along with it. Somehow it ends up where the blanket just magically flies over to Oscar. It does look like trash in Oscar's defense. Elmo passes out because effectively his blanket has been handed over to a man who looks like this and who lives in a garbage can. And Elmo's like, all right, well, I've got to save my blanket. We're besties. We just sang a whole song about it. So he jumps into the trash can to try to save blanket.
Elmo missed you! Come on, let's go home.
Oscar sees Elmo. He literally sees Elmo right there. By then it's too late. Somehow Elmo is 3, I guess, and can't read and didn't see the prominent danger sign. Him and Blanket get sucked into the void, into LSD land.
Have a nice trip!
Like, this movie is such a fever dream. And Elmo effectively arrives in Grouchland, which, as I think I said before, is hell on earth. That when they see you, they tell you to leave because they all hate you, they hate each other.
Grouchland sounds like fun.
Rotten birthday!
Excuse Elmo, can you? No, but sir, can you please help Elmo? Someone please help Elmo.
And I think this is a child, he kind of made me upset because he kept asking for help and everybody just like, if I was in that position, like what would I do? Because it's like he can't just go home, he can't even read.
Elmo doesn't know how to read yet.
But Elmo doesn't seem concerned about getting back. That was my primary concern. I was like, how's he gonna get out of Grouchland and go back to Sesame Street? But you know, Elmo just cares about getting his blanket back. But at this point, we're introduced to the villain of the movie. His name is Huxley.
Which one of you dares to question my evil ways?
He effectively just takes things for the sake of taking them.
You see this tennis racket? I own it. Velvet painting of Elvis. I didn't really want it. But, and this.
Oh, Elmo's blanket.
You're wrong. I didn't borrow this blanket. I didn't rent this blanket. Heck, I didn't even take out a 36-month lease on this blanket. Oh. Bing! I own it.
He's taunting this little 3-year-old that lost his blanket. You want you little baby, you stupid little monster, you tiny little toddler, you want your blanket back? No. I'm not only gonna take this blanket, but I'm also gonna make you go through hell to get it back. Elmo's like begging anybody for help and they all pretty much spit in his face, except for this one Grouch person. Her name's Grizzy.
Maybe I can help you. Now follow me. Greedy Huxley's house on the top of Mount Picanos. That's where your blanket is.
Elmo tells her, like, you know, I'm fine. I can get my blanket back. I've done harder things.
Like what? Elmo learned to tie his own shoes.
I just feel the need to include this clip of Elmo dancing. Ugh, it's terrifying. Anytime I see Elmo walking, I'm like, no. At the same time that this is happening and Elmo's embarking on his journey, the Sesame Street cast are kind of like, where did Elmo go? No thanks to Oscar, they figure out that he got sucked away to Grouchland and they decide to go after him. Right when they get into Grouchland, the first thing that happens is they literally just get thrown into prison.
It's against the law to ask for help in Grouchland.
You know, never thought I'd see them behind bars, but... So while this is happening, Elmo has decided to embark on his journey, and Huxley is kind of keeping a close eye on Elmo to make sure, like, he fails. So he has this little, like, bug henchman that, like, follows Elmo around, and the bug henchman is like, oh, you know, why don't we, like, turn the sign around?
Well, this must be the way.
And Elmo goes down the wrong path, and he gets stuck in this, like, cave. He makes it out of the cave, and Huxley's like, well, you know, like, that was, like, such a good plan. Like, why didn't that work? I just expected him to, like, rot in the cave, I guess.
Don't worry, Blanket. Elmo will be there soon.
Impossible.
So Huxley decides to send Elmo to the Queen of Junk or something.
I need you to take care of my new archenemy, Elmo. You should arrange a little introduction for him to the Queen of Trash.
Elmo gets there and he's like, what is all this junk doing?
You're going to see our queen.
Queen?
Yeah.
What
Oh, yeah,
queen?
and this is her kingdom. Oh, kingdom.
Kingdom?
Kingdom.
This looks like junk.
The Queen sings a beautiful song about how even trash is beautiful, which I guess to each their own. The smells coming from that place, not livable. Elmo tells the, like, trash people that he's going to Huxley, and so they automatically assume that he must be a spy for Huxley.
Elmo's not a spy. Elmo just wants to get his blanket back from Huxley.
Well, you certainly sound like Huxley.
No, Elmo doesn't. Elmo's not like Huxley. No, it's Elmo's blanket. It's mine.
That end eye moment when you realize that you're like the villain of the movie. Low-key traumatizing. But Elmo's also 3, so you know, we gotta excuse some things for him, you know? The Queen is like, if you wanna leave, basically, you're gonna have to give me something. So to prove you're not like Huxley, you're gonna have to give me 100 raspberries.
Like this. Watch.
Who wrote this?
Can you please help Elmo do raspberries like this?
Anyways, Elmo somehow gives 100 raspberries. We got that audience engagement in there, that video retention. Huxley's like, well, that didn't work. Kind of has like his last attempt is to send a giant chicken after Elmo to eat him. He sends a giant ass chicken to eat Elmo.
I'm trying to eat you.
The thing is the chicken thinks that Elmo's a worm, and Elmo's like, no, I'm not a worm, okay? And the chicken's like, well, you know, a worm would say that.
Worms can't do this! Elmo's a little teapot, short and stout.
And then the chicken says, oh, you're not a worm, you're a teapot. I'm being dead ass.
I can't have tea. I haven't had my din-din yet.
At this point of the movie, Elmo has literally been through hell. He has gotten sucked into a land where he doesn't know anybody and they all hate him. He gets his best friend Blanket stolen and basically kidnapped from him, and he ends up in this dark ass cave, like ended up in this junkyard. Then he just got flung by a giant chicken. It's like he literally just can't get a break.
This is not fun.
In this like desolate landscape, not just defeated, Elmo is broken.
Oh
He has nothing left. He's like, I can't make it up the hill in time. Blanket's gonna perish without me. I don't know my way back. He just looks into the camera and he's like, guys, at least I still have you, right?
Are you guys still here with Elmo?
After this, Grizzy, the girl from like the beginning of the movie that helped Elmo for like 0.2 seconds, decides to like disguise herself so she can save the Sesame Street people that are like trapped in prison. Oscar decides to start a revolution.
You call yourselves Grouches. This Huxley character's taken everything that makes Grouchland so disgusting, and you're not doing anything about it.
He literally immediately starts a propaganda slogan.
When they take our goo, we gotta go.
Oscar, you know, he knows the psychology behind, you know, starting a revolution. Gotta give him points for that. At this point, Huxley's chilling in his evil villain lair. Elmo just like bursts through the window and he's like, Blanket, Blanket. You know, I had to hear Elmo back. Blanket, Blanket, Blanket. I just wanted to be like,
Blanket! Elmo wants his blanket back!
Elmo goes to take his blanket back from Huxley. He like ends up in a basket, right? And Huxley like picks up the basket with a giant grabber arm, and he's just lifting Elmo over towards like a hydraulic press, you know, like Grinch style. It's kind of dark, like I'm not gonna lie. Elmo almost gets eaten, pressed to death. Sesame Street people show up, the Grouches show up. They're like, we're gonna stop you, we're gonna save Elmo. You know, Elmo almost died like 10 times throughout this entire thing, but all he cared about was the blanket. Oscar the Grouch is like, it's alright guys, I know how to get back to Sesame Street so they can go home. And Elmo's like, alright, I'm gonna apologize to Zoe. And with that, the movie came to a conclusion. Strangely enough, this movie had a lot of just like humor that even I found myself laughing at.
Did you think of a plan to stop that Elmo pest yet?
Not yet, boss. I was too busy listening to you sing. You got a lovely singing voice.
Oh, yes. Oh, beautiful. Why, thank you. I almost performed in the bus and truck tour of West Side Story. They said I wasn't right for Maria. What do they know? I feel pretty.
Oh, very pretty.
Did I enjoy it? No. Will I watch it again? Also no. Would I recommend you to show it to your children? Triply no. The end.
Look, look, look! Ernie credits! Oh, I want to see who did the catering. Yeah, that was really good toast. You know, they cut off the crusts and everything.
Bert, time to feed your pigeons.
Oh, thank you. Bernice!
Bye-bye.